Hello and welcome to Clearview Television News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, more election observers turn in reports as INEC takes stock of the 2019 election to ensure better conduct of future elections. Labour warns against planned privatization of the Nigerian communications satellite, NIGCOMSAT. And United Nations calls for independent investigation into the death of former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. I am Nten Ekban with details of these and other stories. It is a season of reports by international election observer groups on the conduct of the 2019 general elections in Nigeria. Barely 72 hours after the European Union Election Observer Mission turned in its report containing their key recommendations with a call for a quick reform of Nigeria's electoral process, the NDI and IRI have submitted a joint report also calling for electoral reforms in the country. Recommendations contained in the joint report released this Tuesday in Abuja attracted extensive deliberations by panelists and discussants at the event. Clearview TV's Busola Oru has more on the report.
Prior to the 2019 general elections in Nigeria, several reforms and improved technologies were put in place to ensure the election was free, fair and credible. However, after the elections and winners emerged, there has been evaluations from different international bodies assessing some observed laxities during the elections. The International Republican Institute and the National Democratic Institute, through a joint international election observation mission for the 2019 national and state level elections in Nigeria, came up with several findings which made many consider the elections questionable. Among the key issues they highlighted are political parties' flawed candidate nomination processes, insecurity and election-related violence, money in politics, Nigeria-led initiatives, election dispute resolution processes, and called for electoral reform. Discussants and panelists speak further on some of the recommendations given.
I think election offenses have their roots in the structure of our governance institutions. Why are people so desperate to get into government? Because election offenses have their roots in the desperation by individuals to be in public office. Why are people so desperate to be in public office that they are willing to visit this level of violence and fraud and all sorts of crimes on society?
The level of desperation to get into political office itself is something that has to be addressed. The fact is that the stakes are just too high. The perquisites of electoral office in Nigeria are stupendous. So people are willing to kill and to die in order to get into those positions. And this is an issue that we must address as a nation.
There's also a need for the comprehensive education of the larger society of the people to get to understand the effects and the importance of the existence of such laws in the country. And that requires that these capacities will have to deal with the political leadership of the country.
We look forward to continuing that partnership and supporting Nigerians as they come up with solutions to the challenges that they face in their democracy.
However, popular human rights activist and Director General, Buhari Campaign Organization, Festus Keyamo, lauded the findings and recommendations arrived at.
It is this imperfect system that we are talking about, this imperfect system that the main opposition wishes to spin to appear as if it is the fault of the ruling party. It's that same imperfect system that produced their governors in states where we previously controlled. So that imperfect system gave them Bauchi, that imperfect system gave them Adamawa, that imperfect system gave them Imo, that imperfect system gave them Oyo, and in the presidential election we lost even some states in our stronghold in the West. We lost about 1 or 2 states in our own stronghold. It is that imperfect system that gave them those victories.
It is expected that concerned stakeholders will look into this final report for further improvement during the next round elections holding in 2023. Busola Owuru, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has said that it will address identified challenges and lapses in the 2019 general elections and consolidate on the successes recorded to ensure it delivers credible, free and fair election in Kogi come November 16. National Commissioner of INEC in charge of Kogi, Kwara and Nasarawa State, Malam Mohammed Haruna gave the assurance in Lokoja while declaring open a one-day retreat on the 2019 state-level post-election review in Kogi State. He said the essence of the retreat was to review the operational framework put in place by the Commission in the last general elections to see where it got it wrong and make sure that such did not occur in the future elections, especially the forthcoming elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. He said the retreat will also provide platforms for knowledge sharing among staff and key stakeholders in the local government areas and state level, as well as identify success factors in the election with a view to consolidating and sustaining them. Mohammed identified logistics as one of the major challenges that confronted the last election, adding that the large number of registered political parties that took part in the last election made the entire process cumbersome for the Commission. He maintained that the current threshold as provided in the Constitution for the registration of political parties in the country was so low that it was easy for anybody to form a political party. A clause, for instance, in the Constitution says if somebody applies to register a political party and they don't hear from INEC within a month, automatically they stand registered. That's the problem we have, he said. That means we have to go back to the Constitution and see how we can review it. Also speaking, INEC's Resident Electoral Commissioner in Kogi, Professor James Apam, identified security challenges as one of the major problems that faced the conduct of the last elections in the state. He, however, expressed optimism that the post-election review meeting and other subsequent stakeholders meeting will go a long way in proffering solutions that would ensure better outcome in the November 16 governorship election in the state. Ondo State Governor Oluwa Rotimi Akeredolu has nominated 5 commissioners designate whose names will be forwarded to the State House of Assembly for confirmation. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Olusegun Ajiboye, in a statement in Akure this Tuesday, named the nominees to include Mrs. Yetunde Adeonju, Titilayo Adeyemi, Temitayo Oluwachi, Fatai Olotu, and Mrs. Akindotun. The statement also announced that 3 commissioners have been relieved of their duties in a minor cabinet reshuffle. It said that the governor also appointed 2 more special advisors, namely Tunde Kolawole and Oyebo Aladoton. According to the statement, the cabinet reshuffle is part of Governor Akeredolu's effort to reposition his cabinet for optimum performance aimed at efficient service delivery to the people. At the end of the State Executive Council meeting held Monday, Governor Akeredolu thanked the 3 commissioners for their service to the people of Ondo State and wished them well in their future endeavors. The president of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, Reverend Supo Ayokunle, has been re-elected president of the Christian Association of Nigeria. The results was announced on Tuesday by Bishop Matthew Kuka, Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, at the Ecumenical Center, Abuja. Ayokunle got 59 votes to defeat the runner-up, Reverend Caleb Solomon Ahima, President Fellowship of Christian Churches in Nigeria, who got 44 votes. Ahima, according to the CAN Constitution, becomes the vice president of the organization. Ayokunle was born on January 25, 1957 and hails from Isheke, Oyo, in Oyo State. He has his first degree in sociology from the University of Ibadan in 1983. He had a postgraduate diploma in education and a Master of Education in Guidance and Counseling from the same university. Ayokunle also bagged a Master of Divinity in Theology from the Nigerian Baptist Theological Seminary, Ogbomosho, in 1995 before proceeding to the United Kingdom to obtain a Masters of Arts in Theology and Religious Studies from Liverpool Hope University. He also obtained a Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Theology with an emphasis on liturgical studies. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday signed 2 bills into law, including the National Institute for Security Bill and those of the Federal Polytechnic Amendment Bill. According to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives Umar Yakubu, the Federal Polytechnic Amendment Bill seeks to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act Cap 17 of the laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. We'll bring you the report as soon as it is ready. And moving on now, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with families of victims of the bomb blasts at a viewing center in Mandari, Konduga local government area of Borno State on Sunday. The president, in a statement by his media aide, Femi Adesina, sends condolences to the government and people of the state over attacks by suicide bombers. President Buhari decried the heinous acts, stressing that perpetrators of the evil acts have judgment awaiting them, not only from man via the long arm of the law, but also from God Almighty. He urged security agents to sustain surveillance in all theaters of security challenges in the country, taking into consideration the unconventional methods deployed by terrorists to harm innocent and unsuspecting victims. President Buhari prayed God to grant the souls of the departed eternal rest and comfort their families. The president seized the opportunity to commend the efforts of emergency response workers and humanitarian organizations that quickly moved in to provide support to the victims and bereaved families. The French Institute for Research in Africa, IFRA, has said that no fewer than 10,665 Nigerians died from herdsmen clashes, banditry, Boko Haram conflict, cultism and other violence across the country. IFRA, in a report titled Nigeria Watch 8 Report on Violence 2018, added that the number of deaths recorded in 2018 was 1.4% higher than what was recorded in the country from same lethal violence in 2017. In a report obtained from its website, IFRA lamented that the major cause of violent deaths in Nigeria within the year under review were crime, political and religious issues, cattle grazing, and road accidents. The report added that the most dangerous states in Nigeria in 2018 included Borno, Zamfara, Benue, Kaduna, and Adamawa states, adding that they had the highest number of lethal violence within the year under review. According to the report, the consistent decrease in fatalities from violence in Nigeria since 2014 was halted in 2018, which marked a rise in general crime across the country, with banditry becoming prevalent in Zamfara and Kaduna states. A breakdown of the statistics showed that 2,135 Nigerians lost their lives in 2018 from Boko Haram attacks, a figure less than the 2,829 fatalities in 2017, accounting for 28% decrease. Court-related killings accounted for 453 deaths in 162 incidents, while 238 people were killed in 76 kidnap incidents. In 2018, 2,331 victims were killed in 350 lethal incidents involving security operatives. Among the affected 24 states and the FCT, Rivers and Lagos recorded the highest number of fatalities, with respectively, while 70 and 49 people killed during the period under review. Unlike domestic violence, which decreased in the year, kidnapping for ransom increased from 290 fatalities in 2017 to 358 in 2018, mainly in Bauchi, Benue, Cross River, Ebonyi, FCT, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kebbi, and Kwara states. Kaduna maintained its status as the most dangerous state in respect to kidnapping, with a record of 23 deaths in 15 incidents. Abuja-Kaduna Expressway and Benin-Buhari local government area also remained hotspots for kidnapping activities. Benue, Plateau, and Nasarawa states were the most hit in the Middle Belt, while Benue State recorded 532 fatalities, Plateau recorded 291, and Nasarawa 243. You're still watching the news on Clearview Television. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Please stay with us.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkapri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly. And as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach with already in labor. So she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick iṣẹ́ abẹ ni wọ́n ṣe fún mi. Wọ́n ní pikin ńláńdà wẹ̀ tán. Wọ́n sì tọ́jú mi. Wọn ò gba kọ́bọ̀ lọ́wọ́ mi. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà. Kò sí pírọ́blẹ́mù. Wọ́n àtẹ́ǹdì mi gidigidi. Wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o. Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nọ́ọ̀sì àti dókítà, Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o. Kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ o. Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o. Wájúwájú ní wọn lọ o. Kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o. Ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program. And we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure. And we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
Wow! Ekide che wa gegedede je kuma gbomu we ekide che todukane kebi kolonyogba ka àwọn dugbede mu àwọn ma agbadufo onekele konugule manike koma alukuma gba bai alukuma ko ichiwa igala omi kuna ka ishoma me kukojane igala de edomi sebo kugojile uchoma me igala lakina gowa oji television kide loba ekidere ma obino
látòrí ìdárayá ní orí ọ̀dọ̀ látòrí ọ̀dọ̀ olóṣèlú títí dé orí ọ̀wọ́n lọ́balọ́ba àti ìjòyè ya wọn yìí. ẹ̀kọ́ àti àṣà àti ìṣẹ̀yà ètò ẹ̀jáyé ìgbọ́ra ó ti rá láti jẹ́ àmọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ní agbègbè ra àti àyíká ra nílẹ̀ ọkùn ẹ̀ agbọ́ra ẹ̀ àwòrán níbi ẹ̀tíyàwó ra ètò ẹ̀jáyé ìgbọ́ra àti muhari gbogbo níbẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ̀ àwòrán lórí rẹ̀. ẹ̀jẹ̀ sọmọkọ́ ọmọ sọmọ.
Uni ahoime bawuni enwome ati sojete bawuni iresu amohi baki epezwe ati ameme woroka me da shekura novede ibiraba beva sezo onene isamuhi oneri odovide kura ame oneri saza esikameni avabani voneva sevore diaka iresu ibiraba be TV oneva save of down and jozile sokoko eturonone ibiraba be yafabe dinyo ishehun dia novede.
Thanks for staying tuned, and to continuously improve academic research and knowledge economy in public tertiary institutions in Nigeria, International Computer Driving License will partner with Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TED Fund) to train teaching and non-teaching staff on information communication technologies. The intervention, which is aimed at the most critical area identified to make a difference in public tertiary institutions in Nigeria, was disclosed during a meeting of delegation of the ICDL and TED Fund in Abuja. Correspondent Magdalene Michael has details.
Addressing the delegation, the Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TED Fund), Professor Suleiman Bogoro, said the move is in line with the 6-point agenda of TED Fund and that the target group, the public universities, will enjoy digital skills for both teaching and non-teaching staff.
Intervening in the most critical areas that we carefully have over time identified that are supposed to make the difference in improving the rating and ranking of Nigeria's tertiary institutions overall, but specifically the public ones, where our mandate falls. And by our law, and in this specific context, federal and state universities, federal and state polytechnics, federal and state colleges of education. That is the cluster of group. It is for that reason I consider your partnership with TED Fund as very critical. We cannot be competitive if we are not at the same page with our superior competitors. If we are not at the same page, there are global standards, there are best practices. ICT is the driver in most cases.
International Computer Driving License representative Solange Umusa, while speaking on behalf of the team, observed that the society we now live in is dominated by ICT, hence capacity building through this form of intervention will enhance knowledge economy.
You're having the right partner who will be with you from day one until the project ends, and we will offer our full support to the project. Meaning that if you work with ICDL, it's not that we go and you work alone, so we are with you from day one. We make sure that the project is a success and the expectations are met, and also the people who are supposed to benefit from that.
TED Fund is an intervention agency set up to provide supplementary support to all levels of public tertiary institution in Nigeria with the objective of applying fund alongside project management for the rehabilitation, restoration and consolidation of tertiary education in the country. Magdalene Michael reporting for Clearview Television.
The Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations in Government-Owned Companies has cautioned the federal government against the sale of the Nigerian Communications Satellite Company NACOMSAT. The union, an affiliate of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, expressed shock over the plan to sell off NACOMSAT to private individuals, claiming that the Bureau of Public Enterprise (BPE) has already commenced the process. In a letter addressed to the President Muhammadu Buhari titled "The Proposed Sale of Nigerian Communications Satellite Company, a Call for Caution," the union noted that NACOMSAT, a government company created via the Companies and Allied Matters Act, was established on the 4th April 2016 by the previous administration. The letter signed by the association's president, Comrade Mohammed Yunusa, and its general secretary, Comrade Ayo Olorun Femi, reminded President Muhammadu Buhari that NACOMSAT was created due to the need for critical national infrastructure for security communication to bridge digital drive and for digital and financial inclusion for the larger rural area. The letter read that as a responsible union, we do, while acknowledging that NACOMSAT is yet to realize its full potentials, the association noted that selling it to a private individual or company cannot be a solution, as such will not be in the interest of the country. It expressed sadness that the federal government has refused to fortify NACOMSAT Limited through an enabling act mandating all ministries, agencies and MDAs to procure satellite services from NACOMSAT Limited. According to the association, the government instead went ahead to create Galaxy Backbone, thereby compounding the situation. It added that Galaxy Backbone was created and mandated by law to provide internet services to all ministries and agencies of government across the country. This mandate given to Galaxy Backbone was not only faulty ab initio, but impeded the growth of Nashcomsat as a satellite industry and by extension the Nigerian economy. The Union further expressed sadness that the government has refused to support the infrastructure that it invested so much on, adding that the Executive Order 003/005 would have been a good springboard for Nashcomsat to generate higher revenue through local content. It pointed out that the talent required to drive Nashcomsat is within, stressing that the human resource is a very good assemblage of eggheads. Besides, it said the country will lose huge revenue to some super-rich individuals, while the public perception of this government will reflect a repeat of past failure. The president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Daniel Senakman, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to confirm Professor Nelson Bremafa as substantive managing director of Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Danielson made the call at the press conference this Tuesday in Abuja, as Clearview TV's Choye Sekweyi now reports.
The NAS president, while addressing newsmen, said in the last few months tremendous change has occurred in the ongoing delivery of the core mandate of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, under the leadership of Professor Nelson Bremafa. He added that the peace which has returned to the once tension-ridden region was due to his ability to dialogue with stakeholders and lay a solid and effective team.
In the last few months, we are all witnesses to the ongoing delivery of the core mandate of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, under the dynamic leadership of Professor Nelson Bremafa. Peace has suddenly returned to the once tensive region. His ability to dialogue with stakeholders and laying a solid and effective team remains uncompromising.
The NAS president stated that while bursaries and scholarship have been attended to, continuous relative peace has returned and people-centered leadership demonstrated. He said Professor Nelson is an academician who has brought in efficiency, collaboration, integration, and a friendly strategy plan to achieving service delivery.
Bursaries and scholarship, which is one part that attracted us, that concerns us so much. How he has been able to pay bursaries within the past few months that he has assumed office as acting MD of the commission.
He expressed the hope that, as a listening president, Buhari will act again as he did when he approved about 200 billion naira intervention fund for higher institutions after NAN's request to him on January 3, 2019.
Solidarity forever, we shall always fight for our right.
Joy Esekweyi reporting for Clearview Television.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says the country attracted foreign direct investment (FDI) of $10.65 billion from January 2018 to last month. Director of Corporate Communications Department, CBN, Isaac Okorafor, stated this in a statement dismissing a media report that the company suffered 40% decline in FDI in 2018. He disclosed that from January 2018 to May 2019, total foreign investment into Nigeria stood at $33.27 billion, with FDI accounting for 33%, representing $10.65 billion. Okorafor said the attention of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been drawn to the news item on Reuters quoting World Investment Report 2019 recently released by United Nations Conference on Trade and Development on Foreign Direct Investment to African countries. The report alleges a decrease of over 40% in FDI inflows to Nigeria in 2018. While the CBN is not privy to the methodology used in arriving at the figures, we wish to state that available records show significant increase in FDI in Nigeria during the period 2018 contrary to Reuters report. For instance, in 2018, the total capital inflows to the country stood at $19.07 billion, out of which FDI accounted for $7.78 billion. Furthermore, total capital inflows to Nigeria from January to May 2019 stood at $14.2 billion, of which FDI accounted for $2.87 billion, representing a 20.8% of the total amount. The country continues to enjoy steady capital flows due to the prevailing stable macroeconomic environment and sustained investors' confidence in the economy. More than half of the world's population growth will be concentrated in 9 countries, including Nigeria, United States, Pakistan, and DR Congo by 2050. United Nations said on Monday that also included on the list are 3 other African countries, namely Ethiopia, Egypt, and Tanzania, as well as Indonesia and India. The UN also said that the world's most populous country, China, will see its population drop by 2.2%, or around 31.4 million between 2019 and 2050. In order that 27 countries or territories have experienced a reduction of at least 1% in the size of their populations since 2010 due to low levels of fertility. The report also says deaths are outpacing new births in Belarus, Estonia, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Japan, Russia, Serbia, and Ukraine, but that population loss will be offset by an inflow of migrants. The overall global fertility rate, which declined from 3.2 births per woman in 1990 to 2.5 in 2019, is expected to fall further to 2.2 by 2050. That's close to the minimum of 2.1 births needed to ensure the replacement of generations and avoid long-term population decline in the absence of migration, according to the United Nations. The report also projects growing life expectancy generally, including in poor countries where it is now 7 years less than the global average. You're still on to the news on Clearview TV. It's time for another break. We'll be back with more news. Please stay with us.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer, MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
The Nigerian police force, through the dogged efforts of the Inspector General of Police, IG Mohammed A. Adamu, in a bid to combat the high rate of criminality and criminal elements, kidnappers, domestic offenders, violence, cultism, rape, robbery, amongst so many others, has launched the Police VGS mobile app. The Police VGS mobile app is a web-based dispatch system for quick emergency reporting of incidents by citizens, for the prompt response by the Nigerian police and other emergency and security agencies. Within 5 seconds of reporting, the appropriate government security or emergency agencies will be alerted and help will be deployed immediately. If you find yourself in a situation where your life or the life of another is threatened, such as kidnap, rape, robbery, road accidents, fire incidents, medical emergencies, natural disasters, or any attempt on your life or the life of a fellow Nigerian, all you need to do is to silently swipe the Police VGS app on your mobile phone. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be sent your way promptly. This is particularly handy in case of kidnap on the highway, roadside, one chance, or case of robbery or any communal unrest whatsoever. All a victim needs to do is just to swipe the app on a phone, either as a victim or an observer. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be deployed for appropriate intervention. Apart from reporting emergencies, the app also has a unique features such as Escort Me. Once this app is activated, the police force and other security agencies will receive the coordinates of the dispatcher of the distress. Either on the highway or within the city, a user can also report incidents, the eyewitness feature on the app. The mobile app is available for all Nigerians on the iOS and the Google Play Store platforms. Android or iOS phone became Police VGS Mobile Reporter. As soon as a subscription to the Police VGS app is made, the Nigerian police will be on hand to attend to incident reporters in a matter of seconds. Swipe to safety. Terms and conditions apply. Oh, remember, the police is your friend.
We now take you back to our earlier report where we told you that President Muhammad Buhari on Tuesday signed 2 bills into law, including the National Institute for Security Bill and those of the Federal Polytechnic Amendment Bills. According to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives, Umar Yakubu, the Federal Polytechnic Amendment Bill seeks to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act Cap 17 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. Anita Patrick has more.
The new amendments seek to harmonize the tenure of the rectors of the Federal Polytechnics, retirement age of the staff of the polytechnics, as well as the establishment of the Governing Council for the polytechnics and membership of the council. According to the new law, membership of the councils will be a 5-man council and will be chaired by a chairman. The law also provides that such membership must be a reflection of the federal character.
We believe in what we call merit before anything else. So everything we are going to be doing in Ogun henceforth is going to be based on merit. Our cabinet will reflect people who deserve to be in office. They will show competence. If you look at when we started through our transition team comprised of the best brains from Ogun, from the private sector. And if you look at what we've done so far, the chairs of my CPS, I'm sure you know who my CPS is, Kunle Shomari. You know he's one of the best minds in the media industry in Ogun. My chief of staff is also a very brilliant Ogun mind. My secretary of state government, very successful entrepreneur, of Ogun extraction as well. So this is how we're going to be defined. Ogun will be that state to achieve our potentials, which we have earmarked and called our pillars. We must ensure that some things are gotten right, which we call our enablers. The first of the enablers is our good governance. We cannot begin to talk about good governance when the team itself that wants to execute good governance, when the team is faulty. So we will pick our team based on merit. And we now begin to prosecute our pillars from the lenses of good governance. Good governance for us starts with as simple as ensuring that workers' salaries are paid on time. I resumed office on the 30th of May, having been sworn in on the 29th of May. The 31st of May, my second day of office, was the day salaries were due for payment. My pact with the Ogun people was that salaries will be paid as and when due. And to the glory of God, that day, 31st of May, Ogun civil servants began to receive their alerts that night.
Each Polytechnics Council under the new law must have a female member as well as a person representing the area where the Polytechnics is located. The new law also provides that each rector is expected to serve a single term of 5 years, noting that where anyone is currently appointed to serve for 4 years, it shall be extended to 5 years.
His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari assented to 2 bills today. The National Institute for Security Studies Bill, as well as the Federal Polytechnics Amendment Bill. He has assented both bills today. The Federal Polytechnics Amendment Bill, of course, sought to amend the Federal Polytechnics Act, Cap 17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, whereby there are amendments to several sections of that act. Primarily, the ones that I thought we should communicate immediately is the tenure. The Act sought to harmonize the tenure of the rectors of the federal polytechnics, as well as looked at the retirement age of the staff of the polytechnic. And one other area also is the establishment of the council, the governing council for the federal polytechnics, and the membership of that council. And the membership for the council would be a 5-man council, and it will be chaired by one person as the chairman. And of course, it states that the council should have a reflection of the federal interest, whereby you have, in fact, a woman shall be a member of that council, as well as a person representing the area where the institute is sited, in addition to one of the alumnus of the institute.
Yakubu stated that the new law on the National Institute of Security Studies seek to establish that institute with the view to ensuring that both the middle and senior managers in the security sector have their competences built and that they will be trained to build their capacity. Anita Patrick reporting for Clearview Television.
On the foreign scene, the United Nations has called for an independent investigation into the death of former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. The 67-year-old died after he collapsed during a court appearance on Monday. Morsi was Egypt's first democratically elected president, but had since been in custody since his removal by the military in 2013. His family have long raised concerns over his treatment in prison and say that the authorities refused a request for him to be buried in his hometown. Instead, the former leader was later arrested in eastern Cairo early on Tuesday morning under reportedly tight security. A statement from the Office of the United Nations Commissioner for Human Rights pointed to Egypt's obligations to treat its prisoners humanely in calling for an investigation. Concerns have been raised regarding the conditions of Mr. Morsi's detention, including access to adequate medical care, as well as sufficient access to his lawyers and family during his nearly 6 years in custody. He also appears to have been held in prolonged solitary confinement. Morsi died while appearing in court on spying charges. He was already facing decades in jail after being convicted in separate trials. A forensic report has been ordered into his death. His former party, the Muslim Brotherhood, and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a close ally of Morsi, are among those who have blamed the Egyptian leadership for his death. The U.S. military will send an additional 1,000 troops to the Middle East as tensions build with Iran. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan said the deployment was in response to hostile behavior by Iranian forces. The U.S. Navy also shared new images it says link Iran to attacks last week on 2 oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman. Washington has accused Iran of blowing holes in the vessels with mines. Iran has denied the allegations. Tensions were further fueled on Monday when Iran said its stockpile of low-enriched uranium will next week exceed levels set under the 2015 nuclear agreement. It recently stepped up production in response to U.S. tightening sanctions. The 2015 deal, from which the U.S. has withdrawn, curbed Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of sanctions. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said his country did not seek to wage war with any nation and had remained loyal to its international obligations. Overnight, 3 rockets hit a military base housing U.S. troops north of Baghdad. The U.S. said it was indirect fire and did not cause injuries. No group said it had carried out the attack, though it followed U.S. warnings of an increased threat to U.S. interests by Iraq. An announcement announcing the deployment, Mr. Shanahan said the U.S. did not seek conflict with Iran, but the action had been taken to ensure the safety and welfare of military personnel working throughout the region to protect national interests. He said the military will continue to monitor the situation and make adjustments to troop levels accordingly. Berlin's left-wing government has approved a plan to freeze rents in the German capital for the next 5 years. Rents have risen sharply in the city, and there have been rallies urging the authorities to keep housing affordable. The plan is expected to become law in January. It could apply to 1.4 million properties, but not to social housing, regulated separately, or new buildings. The average monthly rent for a furnished Berlin flat is about 1,100 euros. An international comparison website reports that several major European cities are more expensive than Berlin for apartment rents, including Barcelona, Rotterdam, and Milan. Berlin rents, however, rose by 7% in the first quarter of the year, and in the past decade rents have doubled as the booming city has become a major magnet for job seekers. The most expensive rents in Europe is London. The Evening Standard reports that a typical two-bedroom flat in Southwark near central London cost £1,573 a month. The Berlin draft law, approved by the city's Senate, is being keenly watched across Germany, as there have been many complaints about housing costs elsewhere too. The left-wing Social Democratic Party, Social Democrats, the SPD, in power in Berlin favor a national rent cap, but critics point out that the housing market varies considerably from one region to the next. A New Zealand man who shared a live stream video of the Christchurch mosque attacks has been jailed for 21 months. Philip Arps sent the video to 30 people and a friend, asking for it to be modified to include a kill count. Christchurch District Judge Stephen O'Driscoll said Arps held unrepentant views towards the Muslim community. A gunman killed 51 people in the attack on Muslims at a mosque and Islamic center during Friday prayers in March. At the Christchurch District Court on Tuesday, Arps pleaded guilty to 2 charges of distributing objectionable material for sharing footage that was live-streamed to social media during the attack. The court held that Arps had also intended to share a modified video which included crosshairs and a kill count. Judge O'Driscoll condemned Arps' actions, calling them a hate crime. He added that it was particularly cruel of Arps to share the video in the days after the attacks. The judge added that a pre-sentence report raised other issues about Arps that were concerning, but said he did not want to mention them publicly, as this could be seen by Arps as a badge of honor. The 44-year-old businessman had pleaded guilty in April. He was also convicted in 2016 of offensive behavior for leaving a pig's head at the Al Noor Mosque, one of those targeted during the Christchurch mass shootings. You're still watching the news on Clearview TV. Up next is sports after this break. Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimehin Tolulakpe Oguntimehin. Nigeria Cricket Federation has promised to invest more in grassroots as the federation takes a costly look at their 2 years in office. The president, Professor Yahya Okoya, stated this at an interactive session with journalists in Abuja during the visit of the International Cricket Council. The report. International Cricket Council (ICC) has expressed satisfaction over the current state of cricket in Nigeria. Senior manager for ICC, Andy Hobbs, made this known in an interactive session with journalists in Abuja, where he said Nigeria's performance at international competition is tremendous, especially at recently concluded under-19 competition, where Nigeria picked World Cup ticket. He, however, urged Nigeria not to relent because Cricket 360 will continue to work with its federation as to aid the growth of the game.
Nigeria is a country where we feel has huge potential. It's a country that has a long tradition of cricket, over 100 years, and it's a country where we believe there can be significant growth. There is a really strong foundation for that growth in place at the moment. The work that the Nigeria Cricket Federation is doing in partnership with the government is outstanding and was capped off with the wonderful performance of their under-19 national team in going from Africa to Division 2 all the way now to the World Cup in South Africa early next year.
The president of Cricket Federation of Nigeria, Professor Yahya Okoya, said their emphasis going forward is to concentrate more on infrastructure and grassroots development of the game.
In facilities, this has been a big challenge, but we've done some work both in Lagos and in Abuja here. 2 of our pitches are, let us say, to play standards, we could say they're close to about 70%, because off-field facilities still need a lot of improvement. We have plans not only to provide facilities that can attract international competitions in the country, but also to look at regional facilities as well, because this is where most of our development programs are supposed to be taking place. So these are in the pipeline. But you know how it is with building structures and money in Nigeria. And we have to work according to resources available to us. But progress has been made as well. Development is another area we've been looking at. Making cricket available to more Nigerians. Understanding we wanted to get the game to Nigerians. And in this direction, you guys from the media have helped us a lot. Because by covering all our programs, we've made a lot of progress in that direction. And we've been working on increasing numbers of playing numbers or new children playing game. Figures close to about 10,000 per year. And I believe that even if we didn't get to this figure, we will be very close to it, or even more than that. I don't have the actual statistics. But enrollment on a state-by-state basis is going on. So also is reintroduction of cricket to the traditional schools that, were the backbone of the game, from the colonial period down to the 60s and 70s. So that is an ongoing process. Even adults are not left out.
Nigeria under-19 team will be participating at the Cricket World Cup in South Africa. Tolulakpe Oguntimehin. Nigeria Super Eagles roll into Egypt's second city, Alexandria, on Monday evening as they countdown to the 32nd African Cup of Nations in the home stretch. The three-time champions move straight to the Hernam Palestine Hotel on arrival and on Tuesday train at the Harouk Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport in the port city. President of Nigeria Football Federation, Mr. Amaju Melvin Pinnick, who is also the first Vice President of CAF and President of AFCON, has challenged the team to stay focused on winning the top prize at the Africa's flagship tournament when visiting the team on Tuesday. Responding, Captain Mikel John-Obi promised that the three-time African champions will be very professional on and off the pitch and do all they can to make the country proud.
Emmanuel Amunike has restated his confidence in Tanzania's chances at the 2019 African Cup of Nations, 39 years since the last appeared in the final tournament. The Tiger Stars are drawn in the top first-round group with Algeria, Senegal, and Kenya. They lost 1-0 to host Egypt before they held Zimbabwe to a 1-0 draw in the warm-up games leading up to their return to the biggest stage of African football. We will give it our best shot, promised Amunike. It will be an interesting and open tournament. We have had a very good preparation, which ended with our last friendly against Zimbabwe. We used this match to test other players in the squad. It was a great game against Zimbabwe. Tanzania began their campaign on Sunday against Senegal. From the sporting segment of Clearview Television, I'm Oguntimehin to Lulakwe Oguntimehin. After the
Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side.
And before we go on the news, let's take a look at the stories that made headlines. More election observers are turning in their reports of the 2019 elections as INEC takes stock of the exercise with a view to ensuring better conduct of future elections. The Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies has cautioned the federal government against the sale of the Nigerian communications satellite company NAGCOMSAT. And the United Nations has called for an independent investigation into the death of former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview Television. Like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, as well as Instagram at ClearviewTV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV or NASHCOMSAT with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Nten Ekpang. Many thanks for watching.